how much time is adequate, when you're launching your own podcast? The attention span is shrinking now, as you know, for people. So some people talk about 45 minutes, 1 hour, 30 minutes. So what's the right time?
Perfect. I like it. The best start to answering question number one about the length of a podcast episode is probably going to start with questions, like just wanting to know your perfect avatar. So when you, Ashish, when you think about like whoever your avatar is, then your avatar is your perfect. Let's just pretend you want to raise capital. And so you want a passive investor. Let's just pretend that for a second. And it's an engineer. I'm just throwing things out there. You want to think about that engineer. You probably want to give him or her a name. And then you want to probably think like, what's the length of time that's going to be best for him or her? That's the beginning. So tell me about your avatar and let's see if we can kind of brainstorm the length of your podcast.
Yeah, the typical avatar is a Silicon Valley tech executive, senior management professional who's very busy. And definitely 1 hour is too much.
Okay.
Because people, at that level, they want the maximum value out of what they're listening. So what they're feeding into their head, in a short amount of time. But again, we have to do justice to the topic that we are discussing. So you cannot really box it in a very short time, right?
You're really answering your own question here. And I love it. The listener's getting a lot out of it too. So here's the thing. When you're thinking about putting out content for your Silicon Valley tech executive with little to no time, and he wants the maximum amount of value, but he doesn't want it to be shorter than it needs to be or longer than it needs to be. This is a very normal thing. I believe that some podcast hosts, they think that their episode needs to be a certain number. They might start a podcast and say, all right, we need to fill an hour of time. We need to fill 30 minutes of time. We need to fill 5 minutes of time. And what will happen is they'll get stressed if they're going over. They're adding value, but the host is like, oh crap, I'm going over 30 minutes. I was supposed to be 30 minutes and I still have some value to drop. Mm-hmm. I believe that that's totally okay.
Okay.
If it's longer than 30 minutes and you had your mindset on about 30, but there's still good value coming out for your tech exec, you're good. He's good. He's getting what he needs out of it and he's getting value. And if he does have a drive to work, for example, and let's just say that the drive is 25 minutes and you made an episode that was 45 minutes, it's not a big deal. Okay. Most people listen to part of it and then come and then if they're loving it and if you're hooking them, giving them good value and that they know that they need it, they're going to listen to the rest when they come home. So don't stress about the length of the episode too much, but you had the two biggest things. One of them is like we've discussed a moment ago. One of them is don't go purposefully longer than the content needs.
Okay.
Because that's just wasteful. And secondly, don't cut it short and not deliver the value of a topic because you think that it needs to be under a certain time.